He said he'll be definitely. 25 years of arm wrestling at the Arnold Classic. It's always an honor. We've lost 2 years of our lives, as we know, and I appreciate your guys' patience for still coming. I really appreciate it. We're down a little bit this year, but we'll be back in full force next year. But we have great competition. We've had so many things happen. The first thing I'd like to do is have a moment of silence for our friends and our athletes in Ukraine. If we could do that, that would be great. We have athletes, Armenia, if you'd stand up, Armenian athletes. Oh, they're out getting a sandwich, they'll be back. Boston. Republic of Georgia, Zaza and Ameda, let's get them. All right. Drawn a blank. Who else is here from somewhere? Azerbaijan. Yeah. Wow. Oh, sorry. We have a group from Mass this year, which is nice to finally have them here. But I thank you guys for coming. And you're from Ukraine, aren't you? Pavlo from Ukraine, originally from Chicago. I want to introduce you. You'll introduce this man here, right? That one over there.
The guy that's fiddling.
Yeah, that one.
The one that mustache like me.
Is that the one? Yeah, like
Yeah,
Your brother from
I'm gonna do
another
one.
your brother
Oh,
from another.
I got one. I got one for him.
Okay.
You ready for me?
I want to introduce you to the man that this is because of him that we have arm wrestling at the Arnold. 100%. In 2004, Kat called us and said, "Can you do arm wrestling at the Arnold?" And we said yes. And that was 2004. Arm wrestling was run by a different association before then. But we've been doing it since 2004, thanks to this man. And first of all, arm wrestling would not be here without his persistence.
Period.
So, like this is
Well, first of all, welcome everyone to Columbus, Ohio, and the 34th Annual Arnold Sports Festival weekend. Really excited to have you all here. You know, as Denise said, we've had a 2-year hiatus because of COVID and the shutdown, and we lost the expo, and we lost over $2 million that year by not being able to have the expo. So since that time, the Arnold Sports Festival has gone under a reboot. There's new ownership, so now Arnold owns the company and the festival outright, and that was finalized in December. We weren't exactly certain if we would be able to get certain things because of contracts and sales, so there was some finality. And the irony was that the same day that Arnold's divorce became final after 10 years was the day that the contract was signed for the weekend. So we're in full force this year, even though our numbers are down, but next year we have signed a contract to return, and so we will be back here at least one more year. A couple of things. There's a difference, as I said, in the way things have been set up than in years past. So because we have a different management company, the guy who is now running it is, his background is from Comic-Con. So it's a totally different, demographic. He's not necessarily aware, but once again, as Denise said, I've been fighting for arm wrestling since its inception here. I'll continue to do so. And I absolutely insisted that if they were going to eliminate certain sports, which they did, if they even thought about eliminating arm wrestling, I was done. And I'm involved in so many other things, I was absolutely done. So it didn't take, when you consider that they eliminated gymnastics, but kept you, they didn't want to cross me. They didn't want to make me mad. So, and that's due to the fact that you guys have always been stellar. It is anything I wouldn't do for you. So I battle a lot because there's a lot of egos. There's a lot of people who want to take your stage time. But if you know you've always been the first to kick off the weekend. Always. And we're going to continue that tradition tomorrow.
Thank you.
So also there's more stage time tomorrow, 10 to noon as opposed to an hour and a half. Again, another thing I insisted upon. Saturday, our finals are going to begin at 9:30. So don't use the schedule that's used, because I have a Hall of Fame ceremony immediately after, and I have to leave as quickly as possible to be able to conduct that. Without further ado, because I know his mouth is getting dry. Randy and I talked last night. Every year he comes in to participate with the Arnold, and it's been close to 20 years now. We reminisced at dinner last night, because when I was reminded of the fact that in 2007, this very weekend, Randy came out of retirement and fought for the UFC heavyweight title. And I was explaining it to a person who had no clue yesterday what that actually meant. What that meant was that he had promised me a workshop. And he called me 8 weeks out, and he said, dude, I can't do your workshop. I said, why not? He said, well, I can't tell you. That sounded like my ex-wife. But he said, watch Spike TV, at midnight. I said, I'm not watching Spike TV. What are you talking about? I'm not staying up. Tell me now. So he said, well, it's a secret, but I'm coming out of retirement to fight for the championship, and won't be able to do that workshop. He ended up doing the workshop. The next day, it was one of the biggest upsets ever in the history of mixed martial arts. It was really, literally, a David and Goliath night. For 5 rounds, he kicked that butt. And to this day, it is the highest attended event ever at Nationwide Arena, 19,049 people. That event was in 2007. It revenued the Rolling Stones and everything else that has come before or since, which is incredible. For 8 years straight, it was the highest attended MMA event ever in North America until they moved to Montreal, right? And they had 20,000. But if we could have descended people from heaven, huh?
55,000.
I didn't want to say that, but it was across the border. The numbers are suspect.
I was there
Don't believe,
too,
yeah,
so
no,
I
yeah.
know the
Well,
numbers.
I was just trying to have you go along with me. I'm going to cut your introduction short. But anyway, 8 straight years, which is pretty remarkable. And our friendship has endured. Again, it was almost another change in our schedule. He called me, and now he's with Professional Fighters League, and he's doing commentary and judging. And he said, well, I won't be able to attend the Arnold this year. And I went, sugar, honey, iced tea. I got a young man in there, so you know what sugar, honey, iced tea means. Spell it out. And he said, well, I'm going to fly in Wednesday, have dinner with you, and I'm going to leave Thursday. That's a true friend. Then he called me up and he said, well, there's been a schedule change. Can I still get my room? What do you think the answer was? Matter of fact, I upgraded him. I put him 2 floors below me. So that went over well. Well, without further ado, one of the greatest fighters in the history of mixed martial arts, a gentleman who's not only in the International Sports Hall of Fame, but the UFC Hall of Fame, the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. He was a former military man, Special Forces, served his country well, and he's one of the greatest human beings I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. Please give it up for my good friend, Randy Couture.
Anybody that knows Hack knows his middle name is Persistence, so that's not surprising. Probably questioning how I am, and he's why I'm here as well. He brought me to my very first arm wrestling meet here to hand out awards and shake each and every one of y'all's hands. And I see a lot of familiar faces. I also see a lot of new faces. I think it's amazing. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of individual combative sports. I've done that since I was 10 years old. And getting to know you guys and see you guys compete reminded me of that same mindset. Obviously, the rules of engagement are a little bit different in arm wrestling, but it reminded me of that individual combative sport mentality. And certainly something that I appreciate and respect immensely. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys. It's an honor for me to get to see you guys compete and to hand out those awards after you win your championships and all of that. It's fun for me to be here. Appreciate getting to meet all of you and all that you go through to come here and perform. I know this is your thing, and you try to make it about me, but it's about you guys. So thank you guys very much. Look forward to seeing you guys compete tomorrow and being there Saturday for the finals. It's going to be a great weekend. Appreciate each and every one of you. So look forward to getting to know you and to meet you. Thank you guys.
Enroll tomorrow.
Excuse me.
No worries.
Elsevier. Elsevier. Hollywood. Gave him that nickname.
This is
Don. I gave him that nickname many years ago.
Good to see you, Randy. Thank you.
Another man that helps us out a whole bunch. Travis Tuggle, where are you? Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
David from Armenia.
Good to see you. Hello. Hi. Thank you.
Boston. And get your wristband, sweetheart. Brandon Simpson. Michael Shalhoub. He's one of those Massachusetts guys. What's that? It's nice.
Thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
It wasn't in caps. It wasn't in caps.
Zazas from Republic of Georgia. Alexandra Ozarova. Jacob Miller. If you have a family member with you, please let these guys know. Luke Kent from California. Luke, have you been here before?
Yes. Haven't made it to Saturday yet.
Gary Kessler.
This time stay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
Gary Kessler. Anthony Jones. Austin Jaggers. Don Jackson. That's the problem.
Shoe like the collar.
I need two of them with my girl at that time.
Well, we hope not. Right, Michael?
Thank you very much for having us, as always. Thank you so much.
Go, Michael, go.
Thank you.
Henry Moses.
It's chilly up there.
Mr. 24.
7th place, that's my goal.
This is for you. How you doing, sir?
Greg Gray. Defending champ.
World champ, Josh.
World champ Josh. World champion Josh. Danny Gillian, champion.
Pleasure to see you guys. Always great. Great guys.
Nathan Fry.
You might be sitting on the floor after all, Dan.
Jim Fitzsimmons hasn't competed. And Pablo said I could just say hi.
You've been hanging around Chris too much, probably.
Good looking shirt you got on, Pablo.
Thank you, sir.
I was see you. Maiden Front, Republic of Georgia. World champion. She is. Christina Chasto.
You remember me?
World champion.
I got a story, but I'm good. No, I got beat by her.
Oh. Well, you can pay back. Alexi.
Can I get two more from my mom and dad? Appreciate it.
Take it back. Bill Ballinger. I was a W my whole life. Dakota Ballard. Dakota. Myrtala Aslanov. From Azerbaijan. I can say Azerbaijan. There it was. Greg Arnold. And he is oh God, help me again, voice actor. And last but not least, the A.
He's Arizona, yeah.
Arizona, I know, but you originally come on. Thank you, sir.
We just know him as Wasim.
Wasim. So did everybody get their? Are there any